Hey everyone, how's it all going? I'm Onita, and are you all ready for my best, worst, disappointing, and DNFs of 2022? 2022 was quite a year for me in terms of reading. I did not get to read the books I had set myself out for. Let's start off with all of the best books, and this is in no particular order at all. So first off, we have A Shadow in the Ember series, the first two books in this series. I just absolutely love the relationship between Sarah and Nyktos. I have said it once before and I will say it again. I think Sarah and Nyktos are better than Castile and Poppy. I will die on that hill. Happily, I will die on that hill. It's just my opinion. I do really love the Blood and Ash series and I'm very curious to see how it's going to end, but I just think this series is better overall and don't think you necessarily need to read the Blood and Ash series first before getting into the prequel series. I do think you can read the prequel series first and then read the main series. I want the series to be completed before I actually confirm that theory for myself. I love the Draken a lot. If you don't know what the Draken are dragons who can transform into mortal beings. And they are just so sassy, they're so badass, they're awesome. I love them a lot. A lot of this book, especially in with Sarah's point of view, it does talk about loneliness. I do experience that a lot, and I like being alone. I like being independent. Sometimes you just need that one person with you, you know? I'm not saying everything that Sarah has gone through in this series I experienced with, because absolutely not. Hell no. Her talking about loneliness and not really having anyone in her life to really support her. Like, I do have people in my life that support me, but with what's said, like I said, not everything she has experienced I experience myself. Some things she has gone through I identify with myself, and especially wanting someone you can't have. Like, I kind of feel that a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of put me in a little bit of a mood as well, like I was not in a happy place, but I still really love this series, I really do, and I gave both books 5 stars out of 5. We then have Middle Game by Shauna Maguire. I gave this one 4 stars, but it is still a unique and well written and well thought out book for me to put on this list. This book is truly one of a kind. I don't think I've read anything like, okay, maybe actually the Atlas trilogy. The more that I think about it, I'm currently reading the sequel right now. I guess you could say the more I think about it, it makes sense that these two would be kind of similar, but this is the first of its kind that I have really read from, and it deals with like old ancient magic that these people in this secret society really want to grab a hold of, and they just want power, they want wealth of knowledge and the power that this knowledge has. They want to be God, basically. It's such a good one. There is a sequel. I think it's like a companion novel or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I think it is a companion novel. And I have a theory that we have not seen the last of these characters. I could be completely wrong. The way that it ended, yes, it could be okay, that's it, but something is telling me that we have not seen the last of these characters at all. For another one in a series, this is the 2 and 3 in a series, in a trilogy, we have, how am I going to do this? God's Grave, and then Dark Dawn. The second and third books in the Nevernight trilogy by J. Kristoff. Oh my gosh, these two books, both of them were 5 stars. Both of them were so good, especially this one. This one has a lot of Gladiator vibes and I was here for it. It was so good, it was so brutal. Mia's powers are expanding in this one, and just her world is opening up a little bit as well. She's seeking revenge. She's a badass bitch. She's gonna get the revenge that she needs and she deserves, or that she wants. And then with Dark Dawn, the third one in the trilogy and the last one is this is the conclusion, and oh my gosh, everything is coming to light in this one. Everything is coming to a close. I actually like the ending. It made sense for me, and we get to see who the narrator is, and I thought the narrator was, like, how the narrator was revealed was so unique and interesting. Also made sense as well. Like, I really liked seeing it. I really like seeing Mia's journey. Like, it's such a good series, this one. It really truly is. We then have Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a short one. I think you can easily get this read in a day. I know I nearly did. I nearly read this one in a day, but just life got in the way and I wasn't able to. But I want to reread it just to see if I can actually read it in a day. It's a book about different viewpoints in different eras in life and this anomaly. The viewpoints in this one and the different eras, it does jump around a little bit, but it never felt jarring to me. It felt natural. It felt like the words flowed on the page. Each era flowed on the page. It blended in and flowed beautifully together. It's a really good book. And it also has little Easter eggs with Station 11, I believe Station 11. And also the Glass Hotel. There's just some things that are like, hey, wasn't this from that book? Oh my gosh. Just like sentences here and there. Or actually more just one sentence that you think, oh my gosh, wait, this was from this book. Oh my gosh, what? And it's kind of like a connected universe in a way. And I want to see what other books Emily St. John Mandel is going to write, especially with knowing that most of her books, I don't know about her backlist that I have not read yet, but I do know that her books are kind of set in the same universe. I'm very curious to see how she's what her books are going to look like in the future, if they will also be set in the same universe and have little Easter eggs tying the different books that she has published together. We then have The Night Film by Marisha Pessl. Oh my god, this book. 5 stars, incredible, multimedia formatting, talks about obsession, a cult-like following between this really incredibly mysterious, reclusive cult horror film director Stanislaus Cordova. Just the things that go on in this book is just, it's really good. I really like the writing in this one. I like the characters. I thought they kind of blended in together. They bounced off each other very good. And something about the Cordova family is that when we learn something about the Cordova family, it doesn't feel right with what we want to be true about the characters, what we think we know about the characters. People have their own ideas about what happened to a character. People have their own viewpoints. They have their own reasons. They have their own opinions. I think I may have already said that, but I'm really struggling for ways, I'm just really struggling right now, but this is really good one that has really stuck in my brain for a while, and it'll continue to stick in my brain for a long time to come still, and I can't wait to reread it. So I'm just so good. And for the last book on this list, we have A Sliver of Darkness by C.J. Tudor. This is her short story collection, and it is a really good one. A very strong short story collection. I definitely feel and definitely get a lot of strong Stephen King vibes. So if you like Stephen King, I do think you will like this author's writing, her works, especially the story collection, because there are a couple that are like, hey, this kind of feels very similar to this one. In the beginning of each short story, she tells you about where she got this idea for her short story from, or for that particular short story from. And she said, hey, this idea came to me from blah, 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 blah. And there are one or two that are inspired from Stephen King. And they were really good ones. They really were. There are 2 short stories in this one that I feel like could have been a little bit longer because I just wanted a little bit more from them. But all of them were very strong. There are some that I feel like could be published into novels instead of short stories or just novellas. This author is definitely becoming an author for me. I need to read her 2 other backlist books, and then her new release book, and then I would have caught up. She is just such a really good writer. She really is. Now, I don't have any books that made it onto my worst. Only because I made the realization as I was putting this list together that most of the worst books that I have read I DNF'd. So really I've had more DNFs than I've had worst books, because I've read the book, I thought, nope, not liking this, DNFing it, saying sayonara to it. And I feel like you need to have read a book in its entirety for you to decide whether or not it's the best or the worst you've read in the year. And I don't like saying something is the worst, because I've seen and read books from other people's worst lists, and I've actually really enjoyed them. So from now on, I'm going to say the least best. Or books I really did not like, because I don't like saying something is the worst when we all have different opinions, you know, right? So this is just going to be me talking about my DNFs. There is going to be no worst or least best books category in this one. I apologize if that's what you wanted. So I have had 4 DNFs this year. The first one being Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. Just this one. I read this one on my birthday, and I had a little bit of alcohol. So I don't know if my sleepiness after drinking the alcohol was what affected me to really not like this book and DNF it, but I thought it was predictable. Once we found out something, once we got to know something, I was just, yeah, I see where this is gonna go, and I'm not a fan of it, so I said, see you later. But I do want to read more of this author's work, especially his more novel books, like his actual novel-length books, not his short story, because he does have potential with his writing. He does have potential as an author, and I am very curious to read more books from him. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, a book written in diary entries or diary formatting about a man and his estranged relationship with his mother. I thought this was really convoluted and a little difficult to follow something. It was just kind of jumping around. Even when I'm reading a book that is jumping around a bit too much, I enjoy it, you know, right? There are some books that jump around that I really enjoy. This one, not at all. Maybe I didn't like this book because I did not go to university to study English literature, but that should not determine whether or not you enjoy a book, whether you think a book is good or not. Like, maybe I'm missing something in this book that maybe a university degree would have shown me the way, or shown me the truth, or shown me what this author was thinking, but no, I didn't like it. I got to the halfway point and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. DNF'd it, and I've been better for it. Have not thought about this book once at all. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Another DNF. Did not like it, did not like the characters. The way the sisters called each other darling annoyed the crap out of me. It rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like this book is a bit overhyped. Did not like the writing at all. It just kind of tried a bit too hard to be flowery, and I don't think romance books need to be flowery. Give me a minute, I'm getting there. I don't think romance books need to have flowery writing. We're all here for the romance, you know. If there's a one-liner that makes you go, ooh, damn, that's a good observation, fine, but I feel like this author was trying a little bit too hard to have flowery writing. I wasn't a fan. I thought it was a bit overhyped. Wasn't enjoying it, and I DNF'd it, and I have not thought about it once. But this is a very popular book, so do try it if you want to. For my last DNF, we have the very last list of Vivian Walker. This is about a woman who has terminal cancer, and she writes a list of all the unfinished things that she needs to get done. You know, you think being someone who is dying of cancer, you think you would have a bit more of an appreciation for life, and you would think you would want to spend as much time as possible with your family. But then again, I can also understand if you would be really angry at the fact that you can't spend more time with your family because you are dying of terminal cancer. But Jesus, oh my gosh, the level of pettiness. I did not like the characters. They rubbed me the wrong way. This book was said to be a funny book. Where's the funny? Where's the ha-ha? I didn't get it at all. Where's the humor? I didn't get it. I understand dry humor, but where's the dry humor? Where's the dryness? And oh my gosh, this scene in a book was the final straw for me. The main character's husband is a Star Wars fanatic. He loves Star Wars, so do I, so does my household. My parents and I love Star Wars. We've got a whole bunch of Star Wars memorabilia, right? So does the husband. This wife, Vivian Walker, who was dying of cancer, I think, like, there's like a lot of flashbacks in this book, like looking about, I guess it is like contemplating her life and thinking about her life with her husband, her family, blah, 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 blah. I could not get behind what this stupid bitch did. Oh my fucking gosh. She took his Star Wars memorabilia, his Star Wars collection, and threw it in the fucking bin. Do you know how much some of those memorabilia things could be? The older they get, the more value they get, the more rare they are. Fuck me, that was the last straw. I read a few more pages and I just had that Star Wars bit thrown in my head because she thought it was junk, she thought it was toys, she thought it was rubbish. I fucking flipped my shit, oh my gosh. Ugh. I don't get it. Like, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you would know that something to do with Star Wars would have such incredible value to it. Why the fuck would you touch it when it's not yours? This wife, right, always talks about The fact that they never had a lot of money. If you had sold some Star Wars stuff, some Star Wars memorabilia, you could have been fucking rich. Oh my, as you can tell, I'm a little angry about it, but it just, oh my gosh, I'm not talking about it anymore. So let's just talk about my disappointing books of 2022. We only have 2 disappointing books that made it on this list, which is actually not so bad. So I think it's actually pretty good. The first disappointing book of 2022 was The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I feel like if I had have been younger when I read this book, I would have liked it a lot more than I did. So I feel like I could have really liked it, but then again, only if I were younger and I had picked it up when I was younger. It's Portal Fantasy, and I don't know if Portal Fantasy is for me. I guess with the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, the first 3 books I really liked. I really liked the Portal Fantasy in that one. I don't know, maybe it's the type of Portal Fantasy. Maybe I'm reading the wrong kind, I don't know. It fell flat for me. It felt fine. Yeah, that's really all I have to say, unfortunately, for this one. And the last book that made it on this list for disappointing books of 2022 is One Italian Summer by, what's her name? Rebecca Surley. Did not like the character at all. She's incredibly dependent on her mother. She's very possessive of her mother. When her mother dies, that's no spoiler. Like, it literally tells you on the back of the book, in the blurb, in the synopsis, that her mother dies. This main character thinks that she is the only one that can feel any emotion, any sadness towards her mother dying. Knowing the fact that her mother was such a big part in a lot of people's life. She was a very incredibly caring, loving woman, and she really liked and loved helping people. And in saying that, she was like a family member to a lot of people, even this main character's husband, because her mother helped her husband try to figure out what he wanted to do in life with his career. They had a really special bond. The mother-in-law and the husband, they had a really special bond. It was like a mother-son bond, I guess you could say, in the in-law sense, okay? I was like, no, you can't feel any sadness, I can. This main character, I can't even remember her frickin' name, but this main character can't even pick out what clothes to take on holiday with her. She needs mummy to do it. She was talking about some kitchen renovations, and she said her mother basically did the design. So what part of it is yours? Oh my gosh. Some of these characters, I tell you, they need therapy. That's what they fucking need. Therapy and a life coach. God almighty. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have, please let me know down below. What were your best, worst, if you had any, disappointing and DNFs in 2022? I would really like to know. Have you read any of these books on this list that I have mentioned? I would also really like to know as well. And I'll see you later.